Golden sun upon the sea,
golden sun is over me.
Ukulele melody,
drifting on a gentle breeze.
Let the worries fall away on this slow.
Hey everybody, it's Uncle Sully back at you again. I got another food video for your consumption. Speaking of consumption, we were talking about salt. Salt, is it a food? Is it a food group? Is it a condiment? Is it your lover? Well, whatever it happens to be, sometimes it can be bad for you. I use really good salt. Maybe we'll talk about that. The differences between salt. I should usually keep a pad of paper next to me here to write down all these ideas I keep coming up with while I'm talking about these videos. I'm coming with ideas for new videos for you guys can consume. Just make sure you don't bite down too hard on these, if you know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm doing. Please ignore me. I've got a little B-roll of salt, so we can talk about salt. Anyway, the reason I have these, I'm making all these videos, if I haven't told you before, I had heart surgery when I was 35, and I had heart surgery not because of all the drugs that I was doing, but the stuff I was eating and how I was treating myself. So I kind of learned, to take care of myself a little bit better. I'm not perfect. I'm not He-Man. I won't be competing in the Mr. Universe or the Miss Universe nowadays. It could be anything. I'm not going to be doing any of that. I'm just your average 66-year-old. I have cancer surgery. I've had eye surgery. I've had all kinds of other issues. So I thought maybe we'd go over some things that I found on the internet, that things you should avoid. I just did some research and this is what it came up with. I don't agree with all of these. That's why we're going to watch them and we're going to enjoy them and then we're going to question them and we're going to love them like our little children. Anyway, let's get on to the next one of the dangers of salt.
As your nutritionist, I know one of the biggest challenges is making healthy choices that are also, convenient and affordable. So today, let's talk about one of the most confusing parts of the grocery store. Yeah, I'm talking about the canned food aisle. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. First, we'll dive into that big canned food dilemma. Then we'll get into the surprising
Some of these are funny. Here's what the topic is, here's what the title is, and I can't remember what the title of this one is. It's like the dangers of salt or something. And then it's like, I'm going to talk about canned food. The salt in the canned food? They kind of like, I don't know, it kind of goes off on a tangent. What was I had another one that I did, it was supposed to be about shellfish. Literally, that's what it was titled. And it was all about salmonella on any food. So it was kind of interesting. Let's see what they got in store for us. Let's just get a fork and a knife and devour this up. Let's see what's going on.
After that, we got to talk about the hidden health risks, what to watch out for. And finally, I'll give you a super simple guide to being a smart shopper. All right, first up, the canned food dilemma. You know that moment, right? You're standing there in the grocery aisle, looking at the fresh produce, then looking at a can of beans and wondering, is this just as good? Let's get into it. Yeah,
that happens to me. I'm always standing in this aisle at the grocery store staring at cans of beans, depending on how many edibles I had in the morning. I'm like, yeah, do you have that issue? I have that problem a lot.
Heads, right? Fresh is always best. But is that really the whole story? Especially when you're trying to eat healthy, but you're also juggling a crazy schedule and a budget. Does grabbing that can mean you're failing? Let's find out. All right, let's get into the good stuff. The surprising nutritional power of canned foods. And trust me, you might be really surprised by what the science says about what's actually hiding inside these cans. So check this out. A big study from UC Davis actually pushed back on that whole fresh is best dogma. What they found was pretty amazing. For a lot of nutrients, especially things like minerals and fiber that are really stable, the canning process doesn't really hurt them. Canned stuff holds its own, surprisingly well. But here's where it gets really interesting. In some cases, the canning process can actually unlock nutrients. The heat can break down the tough cell walls of a plant, which means certain antioxidants become more available for your body to actually absorb and use. How cool is that? And tomatoes are the perfect example of this. That heating process releases way more of the powerful antioxidant lycopene. So get this, Your body
Well, that's interesting. So actually canned foods can actually do stuff to the food and make it actually better for you than eating it raw or eating it cooked, fresh cooked. Isn't that interesting? Did you ever see they had a documentary I saw about some explorers that went to the North Pole and they got stuck, but they had tons and tons of canned food. And this is like 1887 or something, or 1902 or something. And come to find out, they sealed the canned foods with lead solder. And so it's okay to eat a little bit here and there, but when you're relying on it, which is they ended up on the tundra and not able to fish or do anything else, and they all went crazy, and a lot of them were found with 1,000 times the amount of lead you should have. But they think they fixed that. I don't think there's lead in canned food now. Let's not go there. I'm not going there. But anyway, this is interesting. It's actually some canned food. I always kind of avoided canned food because I thought it was icky, bad for you. But anyway, let's see what they have to say. Maybe something kind of positive for a change, huh?
absorb more of that awesome, heart-healthy, skin-protecting stuff from a can of tomatoes than from a fresh one. Crazy, right? And think about those pantry powerhouses like canned pumpkin, beans, and lentils. I mean, they're total nutritional champions. They're absolutely packed with fiber, which, by the way, most of us don't get enough of. And because they're canned right after being picked,
Canned pumpkin. Oh, to make pies, pumpkin pies. Oh, I was gonna say lentils and beans. Yeah, I've seen that before. But pumpkin. Oh, okay. Sorry about
goodness,
that.
sometimes they're even more nutrient dense than fresh stuff that's been sitting on a truck for days. Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not like you can just go wild in the canned food aisle. There are some real risks to watch out for.
I always go crazy wild in the canned food aisle or any other aisle. I see Captain Crunch, I commence to dancing.
Not so great stuff. Let's start with sodium. So, some guidelines say for
Finally, we get to what the title of this video is. The video is titled Salt. There was one other video that I had that was supposed to be about seafood, and it was about salmonella, and the title was seafood.
healthy, it should have less than 480 milligrams of sodium per serving. The problem? A lot of canned goods, especially soups and veggies, just blow right past that number. And you know, all that extra sodium is a really big deal. It's a major player in high blood pressure and heart disease. Plus, as we age, our kidneys just don't process salt as well, which can lead to things like fluid retention and bloating. So yeah, keeping an eye on your sodium is absolutely crucial. Okay, so beyond the salt, there's another concern you've probably heard about. BPA. That's short for bisphenol A. For a long time, it was used in the linings of cans to keep them from corroding. But the problem is, it can leach into the food, and it's been linked to all sorts of health issues because it can mess with your hormones. Now, the good news is that people spoke up, and because of all that pressure, about 95% of food cans today are BPA-free. But that brings up a really important question. What are they using instead, and is it actually any safer? Well, this is where it gets a little tricky. Researchers are worried about what they call regrettable substitutes. Things like PVC or other resins might have their own health risks. And the biggest issue? Companies don't have to tell us what they're using. So we're kind of left in the dark. Okay, so after all that, the good, the bad, what do we do? This is the most important part. Let's talk about how you can take control and walk down that aisle like a total pro. First things first, ignore all the flashy stuff on the front of the label. Just flip that can over and do this simple 3-step check. Step 1.
Right, the scary thing, look at the label. It's scary to look at the label of stuff that you like, that you know is not good for you. And you're like, oh, I don't want to look. I don't want to know. I know I'm just going to make believe it's good for me. It's got crunch berries. They say it's got vitamin A. It's got to be good for me.
All of those numbers are based on that amount, and trust me, it can be tiny. Step 2, find the sodium. And step 3, especially for things like canned fruit, spot the added sugars. And just look at the difference this...
Like I talked about before, that I was surprised about. Like some fast food places, like the bun has a bunch of sugar in it. And bread at the supermarket can have like sugar in it. If you look at it, it's like, really? You think it's wheat and water and yeast and that's it? No, they throw all kinds of stuff in there.
Left is packing almost 500 milligrams of sodium, but the smart choice on the right, only 35. Just by looking for those magic words, no salt added or low sodium, you can slash your sodium intake. It's that easy. So here are my top pro tips. Always look for those low sodium or no salt added options. And here's a great trick. Just rinsing and draining your canned beans and veggies can get rid of up to 45% of the sodium. For fruit, make sure it's in 100% juice or water, not that heavy, sugary syrup. And hey, if you're worried about the can linings, reach out to the company and ask. You know,
I just reach out to the company and ask. Just call their 1-800 number and say, hey, what kinds of linings you guys using on your cans? I'm sure that's going to happen. Some lady's going to, hello, we're glad to answer your questions at Canning Company, huge conglomerate. Okay, that one, I don't believe in that. You'll never get a hold of them. It'll probably take them like 6 months to get back to you.
All about balance. The science really backs this up. That UC Davis study basically said, hey, don't write off canned and frozen foods. When you choose them carefully, they can absolutely be part of
Stouffer's frozen mac and cheese. I don't look at the ingredients. I just know it's good for me. It's got cheese and Salisbury steak. It says steak. It's got to be good for you, right?
So what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty simple, actually. You don't have to be afraid of the canned food aisle. You just have to be smart about it. You can totally turn it from a place of confusion into a tool for making healthy, affordable, and super convenient meals. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What if that aisle we all tend to overlook could actually be your secret weapon for healthier, easier meals? Maybe it's time we start thinking about the humble can not as a compromise, but as a really powerful tool in our pantry.
All right, that was some good information, but like I said, it was labeled salt, and it talked about salt, but not specifically. Well, I guess it did specifically. I actually use the good salt, like supposedly good salt. Maybe I have to look at that, make a video. The Himalayan pink salt, and I have some other stuff. It's called just salt. It has a lot of trace minerals and stuff in it. I don't use that much salt to begin with, but it's kind of interesting. So anyway, that wasn't too bad. It wasn't like horribly negative, but they're calling. You could just call your can company, and they'll just get right back to you about what's in the can. I really don't think so. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and aloha from Maui. Get ready, because here comes another one. I'm not going to stop. They're just going to keep on coming. I'm telling you, baby. Bye.
Golden sun upon the sea.
Golden sun is over me.